Go live. Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Friday the 17th of March. So a quick look then at the potential impact news events that are going to come out. So just switch on to the right one here, and that's not the right one here at all. So right, things have changed overnight, and as ever, there we go. Let's bring this in to show you. As ever, it's reset everything away from where I wanted it to be. So let's look at today, make sure we got today on. Friday's happened. Thursday's happened, Friday's happening. Here we go. So the only key news we got out today is the consumer sentiment and expectations, and we're really left with a hangover of what's happened earlier in the week now, and particularly yesterday with the decisions, interest rate decisions, etc., which came out pretty much as expected. Don't know why they've not updated on here, but they're not updated on here. Anyway, that's that. In terms of possible speakers today, there doesn't seem to be anything on here at the moment at all. So why I don't know, but there we are. Yep, nothing coming up on there at the moment at all. So it's rebooted itself and it's given me no speakers. Let me have a look at my other system. That needs reconfirming. It's typical when you do this. Right, okay. So we've had a ECB speaker already. That's it. No speakers. So we are totally devoid of anything this morning. Right. That's all today. So we're left down to the technicals largely. So let's have a look at those technicals. Starting off with the euro dollar. Well, it took the news okay yesterday. We ended up with this little bullish Rami actually pattern. It's since ran up from there this morning, started to make a move back up. All in all, it's a complete mess out there. I know it's as ugly as Miko, I would say, in terms of these markets at the moment. We're seeing this news coming out obviously on the banks, which are giving the markets the jitters, and then gradually that's getting sort of brushed aside a little bit. But we're back into those days of complexity and uncertainty. Risk on, risk off, it would appear. And when the risk is off, the money runs to the US dollar. So just to confirm that, so when the risk is on, people are willing to trade things. They're into everything. When it comes off, it sort of runs to the dollar, to a bit to the gold. Again, it seems to have benefited a little bit lately, but not always. Anyway, the euro dollar then, it's missed its daily pivot's got a much better chance of hitting the R2, but it's just too far up at the moment for me. There's no pattern here. I need to retrace even if I wanted to go long. This could be just doing some old ugly Gartley sort of pattern, which is a bearish pattern, so we'll have to wait and see what develops from there, but difficult one at the moment. Looking across then at the pound. The pound didn't sell off as much as the euro, and it's yesterday it recovered pretty reasonably there, and again pushing up. But again, this sort of it's a bit of a Gartley looking pattern. They're just really quite. There we go. Actually, it's a bit of a mixed old pattern, but again, already run up through its R1. So nothing for me to trade yet there. So it's a patience game sitting with the likes of those two. Dollar yen, well, it's back on its route southbound. It did run off pretty well yesterday at one stage, but only to turn completely around. But we're seeing it running back off again at the moment. We're seeing the strength coming back into that, so looking better than it did for sure. But have I got to trade that at the moment? No. What could create something off it? Well, so flagging, it's a bit of a mess there, but potentially, I say mess, it's just not a clean move. If it had a decent run up here, then we saw the flag pattern here. Well, we could see something a bit more, but Let's see, we'll leave that for now. Aussie dollar. It's weird because I look at these markets and I wait until post 8 o'clock, and it's just interesting how some of them develop. I'll show you an example in a second, but of what was happening yesterday. Now, again, the Aussie dollar is triple topped here at the moment. It's having a bit of a reaction. It's whether or not it can break through. If it does break through this level, this what am I on here? The weekly is showing a weekly pivot and a monthly pivot. Let me just get rid of the monthly because I guess it should be there in a sense. No, it's just to show me a weekly according to that. Anyway, I've got 2 pivots on. Oh, it is the weekly pivot. It's just it's a single line. It was confusing me, but it's the pivots at the same level effectively, or 2 pivots at the same level. So it is the weekly R1 at the moment. If it can push through that weekly R1, maybe we've got some more upside there. But preference would be to see it pull back, break through, close on it, or test it, and then start moving, just to get a bit more confirmation there. US dollar CAD. The CAD's been stronger, running off here. A break of the near-term lows here would be a much stronger move and suggest that we're seeing a bigger correction to the downside, and it gives us just the third wave effectively. So it might not happen today, but that's potential, and that gives me a reasonable opportunity for a trade. It may be a bit of a swing trade. Quite ugly when you look down at the hourlies here. Yesterday it really didn't do too much. This morning it started moving off again as the dollar's being sold off. Okay, across some of the cross pairs here, haven't seen too much. Some of my favourites are just doing the most ugliest thing in terms of going sideward. So Euro Yen, Euro Aussie. Actually, Euro CAD is my preference, but again here, just yesterday, just spent most of its time chopping. It's already picked up between its daily pivot and its R1, so that's certainly not there. The Aussie Yen has been playing well for us recently. It's back up on a bit of a rally at the moment, so again gaining the pound yen gave us some profit yesterday. Coming off to its S1, but daily S1 that was. It's again a patience game here at the moment. So there's nothing absolutely right now, but there wasn't anything right now yesterday actually when I looked at these. One thing to bear in mind, I was just going to go back to the 8 o'clock session and just being patient. Yesterday we'd been seeing the euro pushing up here, and I just held and waited and waited. This looked like we were going to miss out on something when it started breaking through. It closed above its pivot there, looked pretty decent. Okay, it ran into its 34, that slowed it down, but it looked pretty decent. And it's just that case of just waiting and waiting for the right sort of thing. The pound yen, on the other hand, yesterday at the similar time, it had been chopping around here. We saw the sell-off there coming. That was into the 8 o'clock bar, and then it was 9 o'clock before we could get into a trade on it. But it was very, very simple. We'd had the failure at the top here, rolling over, big old pattern there, and a nice continuation, and that was just a matter of patience. So it is a patience game in this markets, obviously, and sometimes what looks ugly at one stage or looks like it's going one way completely reverses after a short while. Anyway, there you go, just my thoughts there. Right, so let's a quick look at the other markets here. Looking at gold. So looking at the higher time frames of gold, just chopping along really at the moment. It's done that over the last few days. It's not going anywhere too quickly, but consolidating around the highs, which could see it pushing up further. Crude have been selling off quite ugly, and there it is. It's continues selling off, hanging in there at the moment on the last day or so, but it's just chopping, and short term just running pretty sideways at the moment. It's double bottomed yesterday, so we'll see if it can generate a little bit more upside. It's been in quite a nice downward price action recently, but at the moment just running sideward. Okay, let's just look at quickly the indices, just running through. Well, the indices, Asian indices first, and again yet another red bar in the CSI 300. It actually closed up, believe it or not, with this red bar. It gapped up, pushed up, and it's just fractionally closed up, but still overall not being able to hold on to any gains by the looks of things, or any significant gains. Nikkei, a lot more positive, again pushed up, pulled back, again closed the gap, and it's pushing back up a little bit more positively, but still best left. And the Nifty 50, again we've seen a gap, and it's now moved, still up fractionally on the close of yesterday, but looking like it could close that gap, close the rest of that movement and roll over. S&Ps, we saw the rally coming through yesterday evening here. It pushed up. It was looking quite ugly. What it's done now is it's put a higher low in, and well, it's possibly on the turn here for now anyway. Short term, not particularly pretty. Dow Jones, similar sort of action yesterday. We saw the retracement. The banks are all being bailed out again, one way or another, slightly different way this time. You've got to scratch your head to think, how can these banks fail when they've already gone through what happened in 2007-8, and how can they be in such a poor state? We've had really low interest rates. They've been milking everything possible, yet it appears that they've been caught once again. Anyway, let me get off my box and just look at what's going on here. So the Nasdaq pushing up, strongest of the lot here. It's broken its trend now. Retracements into this, maybe even it would be quite nice. It seems to be going off the best there. The DAX yesterday ended up again as a reversal, sitting through there yesterday, but still looking a bit precarious where it's sitting at the moment, a bit soft. That could be it. I'll just sort of throw a fib across there and see what sort of retracement we've had there. So roughly about 50% retrace we've seen. He says, am I looking at the right one? Yep, around about a 50% retrace from the previous low to the high. It's also weekly down into its S2s here. Quite pinched up because we had such a pinched week the previous week there. Month even. But quite pinched where it sits at the moment. Short term, lower highs, lower lows still through there, although a bit of divergence kicking in here, and it's broken the high of that divergence, so it could be on a turn. And where it's sitting at the moment, it's a bit like a lot of the currencies. flat lining at this stage. FTSE, just go there, you can see the same flat lining, the same double bottom. We'll say it's slightly higher double bottom, and it's giving us a little higher low there. Still largely in a downward trend when we look through what's going on here. Lower highs, lower lows, but just possibly bottoming out there. Okay, there are the currencies, the indices. Quick look at crypto before the weekend. Just look at Bitcoin first. Let's come to dailies here, and a decent shove up this morning, already pushing to the upside a little bit there. Ethereum, what's going on over there in the world? Ethereum, likewise, just seeing a bit of a shove this morning. They've been sitting around these highs. Maybe they've got a bit more potential. I'm sorry, just coming back to Bitcoin here, and it's we can close up here. We could be coming back after a weekend where it's really got a wiggle on. Let's just come back to the weeklies. I mean, just put things into perspective, of course, before we get too carried away and just look at the previous resistance levels. But it's through its sort of key resistance levels there around about 25, 26 sort of area. It's broken that. Next sort of levels, really the previous lows there, that would come in with the monthly R3. So it's got some potential. Certainly looking better than it's been for a while. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. I'll catch you later. Bye for now.